staged the place. And I broke ground for several of the metro lines.
You saged the Staples Center?
What?
You saged the Staples Center?
For the Staples Center, yeah. I broke the ground for the Hotchman people, the original people. They invited the native people, and right there before they broke the ground, I was there. And they enjoyed that so much at the opening of the building, they had me come and play.
How extraordinary.
Yeah, and then during the Democratic Convention in 2000, which was very strange for me, I did the opening prayer kind of thing, which gave me kind of a lot of notoriety at that time because, you know, I said a few things, but I had to say. But it was all good, and but no, I've, you know, played all kinds of different places and all kinds of different reasons. But, you know, sometimes it's for the solstice, sometimes it's for the full moon, sometimes it's for somebody's ceremony, different rites of passage at different times of life, and of course the passing of folks. You know, Native people here in California are doing things, you know, sometimes a little different than what we normally would think because it's a different state of mind, and there are people here in California that California doesn't even know we're born.
Explain that.
Well, you know, you go to some of these reservations, and there's still traditional people who they just want to do it the way they want to do it, when they want to do it, and they don't want to be taken away. So there's a lot of people who die on reses that never, you know, they never tell them about. And we go do a traditional ceremony for them. And they go, what are you going to do when they come asking for them? Well, tell them they went for a walk.
Yeah. You're talking about burial and all of that.
Yeah, because, you know, it's for Native people to call a coroner and have them take you away at that time. It doesn't seem natural to them, you know.
I really think that there has been a great loss in our rites of passage in death.
Well, it's true because people want to really hide it from us and all the time, and some people just don't want to be embalmed or any of the things that they've made law.
I did a whole show several years ago on television on death, just shortly after my dad passed away. And I did it on cremation, and I did it on burial. And I found out about the laws, that actually the laws are that you can have a ceremony with a loved one that has passed away. They can be in your house. You have to get, quote, a permit.
Right. You can anoint them at your home.
Yes.
I have heard some of these laws, and I've been introduced to recently, yeah.
So I think a lot of people think you can't, or it's illegal, you know, or
right.
It has to be picked up immediately.
Well, just like having your babies at home.
Exactly.
We had all our kids, you know, both of our kids at home, and
oh, awesome.
Yeah, it is a wonderful thing. I mean, it's not a sickness.
Exactly. It's not a medical procedure.
No, it's not a medical procedure. Unfortunately, it really hurts a lot of babies and wives, you know, to go clean for 9 months and go, yeah, I'm eating this, I'm eating that, and then as soon as you get there, they start shooting you up with everything, and then not allowing you to breastfeed immediately because you're so full of drugs, and that's really what hurts the bond. And then, of course, we have, you know, a common practice of sexual mutilation here in the States.
Meaning?
Well, most boys are circumcised. Their sexual private parts are cut.
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no different than in Africa and other places they cut females. Well, here we automatically.
Well, in Africa they cut the entire.
And now that they're finding out that they don't really ever recover, and which aggravates them in a different way throughout their lives.
Sure.
From unprotected, which makes them extremely aggressive. No different than people who said in the last century, you know, the turn of the last century, don't breastfeed your kids because they're not going to be able to get in the factories young enough to have a good life. No different than Russians swaddling their children, keeping it away from the mother at birth. It kind of takes the human bond away and mutates because that's not the way it's supposed to be.
I did 2 shows on water birth in 2004. Yeah, that was fascinating.
Well, it's a wonderful option. You know, when I had my wife here, I gave her a little kiddie pool. We had a pool so she could go in and out of water, but she ended up having each one on the couch.
Isn't that funny? When I found out how it is that women ended up on their backs having to give birth in hospitals, when I found out on the show that it was because of a king that ordered the midwives to put women on their backs to give birth, which totally doesn't support the birth. And then you see it turn into a medical procedure. They're still on their backs. It's crazy.
It really, really is.
It's wild. It's like,
and they're not moving around. They're not allowing their hips to move. And not only that, they sedate them so things tear and rip and really hurt the woman because she can't feel. And then, of course, with the drugs, they can't breastfeed immediately. So, and most likely, it's easier to hang on to a plastic poisonous nipple that we found out that they've had all these poisonings for so long.
How about the supposed food for kids, for children that are just born? That baby food is terrible.
Well, if we put the meat and the dairy in front of what we're supposed to eat, who say that we're supposed to have 30-40% protein, and we really analyze what is natural and what is not, and when we see that breast milk for a growing baby is only 3 to 5% protein, then we realize this has been a big hoax, right?
Yeah.
We're not supposed to be eating this much protein. If you're going to drink milk from a cow, then, it makes a baby cow 350 pounds in a few weeks.
Well, now, all milk is pasteurized. They've now changed the molecular structure of milk that's sold. It's terrible.
It is.
So milk's not really milk anymore on a molecular level.
And it's not human. And we're taking away the natural bonds, which really makes people remember their kindness and remember that they don't want to be hurt and they want to live another day, even though they do know death. No different than the Indian wars of the past between Crow and Lakota, right? There was a lot of coup going on, a lot of people proving their bravery, but it was very rare for even one or two braves to get killed. And now we can see it at such a distance because we hide death. There's no reason to watch a man die. And in the past, if you were going to kill somebody, you better watch him die so you know what it's about. No different than your kill. And now we can just go ahead and send drones around and kill indiscriminately anytime we want. And what we do to those brothers of ours will soon happen in our inner cities. They will be flying around, judge and jury. That person doesn't look like he's doing anything right. Let's go ahead and take him out and anybody around him.
Have you heard of WikiLeaks?
I have. I hope he keeps running.
I hope he does too. God love him. My God.
God love him because he's a patriot right there to show really what disastrous things we were asking our little boys to do.
It's courageous beyond measure what he has done.
It truly is. It truly is because, everybody loves their kids no matter where they live. And for us to think that nationalism is some kind of patriotism, it isn't. It's not. It's saying that these humans that live within these borders are better than anybody else, but that's not the way it is. We should be then reaching out for anything that we have better than anybody else to give them what we have. But unfortunately, others have better than we. No matter if we have a big gun or not.
How old are your children, Carlos?
My boy just turned 7, and I have a little boy named 3, Messino and Kylo.
Are you worried about how they're going to be raised with the schools in the area?
For us, it's pretty unbelievable to have somebody else raise your children that don't care about them the same. So we've been homeschooling, and it's worked out great. My son reads really great, and he's really excelling in all kinds of different ways, and I think that personalization of meeting so many people and stuff has really, really made them into pretty special boys. And I don't know, I think that institutionalizing our children like we have, if we look at the basis of the institutional, education, it came, the first czar was a military man, and it came from the rich of England of sending your kids to boarding school or not taking care of your kids and having somebody else basically train them because you don't have time. Now, I know that a lot of people have to work and there's no other ways about it, but now we're seeing, extension of the after-school programs and extension of the state taking care of the kids. But these are just functions so the parents can continue working longer and longer and longer hours. This hurts the family completely. The days should be shortened in school. The work hours should be shortened so humans can live a more natural life.
The perception of homeschooling has been that it's interesting, and the but has been my child won't develop social skills